So James, we've got this slide here which is saying that people can digitally transform but reduce costs at the same time. Now I understand that this is partly able to be done by getting Amazon and Azure to either fully fund or part fund people's cloud adoption journeys. But can I just ask, because I think that's maybe a fairly alien concept to people watching this video, can I just ask you just to walk us through point one, how is something like that even achievable?
Yeah, potentially alien, and something that's not that well advertised by either of them, but absolutely possible with the right partners and long-term intentions on their platform. So if you can show the right plans and you choose to work with a good partner that has a track record of taking proof of concept ideas into long-term relationships on their platforms, we've seen frequently 4 to 6 times the expected monthly spend. So not trivial amounts to get onto their platform. And the credit often covers, if you have a project plan that allows for it, from proof of concept all the way through to production and several months on production. Hence we're saying it's a massive reduction in the first 6 months of your journey into either AWS or Azure.
Okay, and that's pretty much available to anyone, just if you can just sort of hook up with the right partner that's going to be able to put that proposal in for you, that sort of much more increases the possibility of that happening, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Any business, any industry, any size as well, which is great. But you have to go through a partner that has the correct accreditations and the correct partnership status, and they'll be able to put forward the proof of concept request for you.
Okay, so let's assume we've either chosen Team Orange or Team Blue, and we've managed to get one of these vendors to fund our cloud adoption for the first 6 months. So we come to the migration. We know that migrations can be complex. How is it possible that you can get a migration done for free?
So all about leveraging the right tools, mainly disaster recovery tools of the past. They've really transformed over the last couple of years to automate the heavy lifting of shifting either on-prem or data center workloads and utilizing AWS and Azure. We know AWS themselves purchased Cloud Endure, which is a great product to do the same thing, and Azure have the site recovery platform. So now large migrations of simply a DR automation solution short of completing an entire migration, and really removes the barrier of entry, the barrier of cost, complexity, and all of the engineering overheads. You just need somebody that has skills in those areas to be able to do that.
Right, so this is why sort of you, but also other vendors are willing to do this for free, is it's kind of like using disaster recovery tools that are a lot more evolved these days, getting everything into the cloud platform replicated in a test environment so that business lines and technology teams can test, iron out the kinks, maybe do a couple of dress rehearsal migrations, and then you're in you're in a position where you can effectively cut over. Does that sound about right?
Absolutely, and all of them are designed to get to the point so you can effectively recover to a different platform, so you can test there before you press the button to migrate. And it literally is that case with most of the tools. You press a button and it's into migration, short of a couple of networking tweaks. But
fantastic. Okay, so then point 3, so I understand that you are willing with some of your clients to negotiate a 50% cost reduction for 6 months, but can I ask you what are the terms of that? Why do you do that?
Yeah, so we're aware of others in the industry doing it. It seems to be quite a trend at the moment, but we very rarely make money in the first year. There's always a huge investment in onboarding and partnering with a new client. And we believe in low turnover, long-term partnerships rather than higher turnover, fixed cost contracts. But as big tech spends and the rest of the technology spend becomes more agile, more on demand, we believe the future's in more long-term stable partnerships. So a 50% reduction to help remove the barriers to entry and go with the right technology partners is a valid investment on our behalf, just to we're all in the same boat at the moment, particularly as well. So
fantastic, and we're aware that there are other vendors that's also moving in that as a trend. There's other vendors that's able to give you the same cost reductions. Okay, so then optimize via governance. It sounds good, but can I just ask you, break it down? What does that actually mean?
Yeah, so we see this and we see it's a common complaint of public cloud in the industry in terms of commercials increasing. And if you don't govern your entry into the public cloud correctly, it can be expensive. We implement a full structure around covering the commercials and budget forecasting that hopefully any FD will be proud of. We know technology is very heavily linked with commercials and finance, but constantly optimising this with a regular cost review program and utilising also, most importantly, the tools that both AWS and Azure are very keen for people to use their own frameworks within them to optimise their own technology and their own spend, and could be as simple as overutilisation of a particular service, and very similar to switching lights off in your house. You can tune things to the on-demand nature of the platforms, allow you to shut things down when they're not in use and bring them back up when they are. The tagging tools in AWS are particularly fantastic. And it's just generally good maintenance and commercial diligence should be top tier these days with either of the platforms. So very easy to access.
So I think this is a view that sometimes I've heard that people say, well, the costs can run away themselves in public cloud, and our experience of that is when people are not, once you've moved into the cloud, there's efficiency, even more efficiencies that you can gain, and you start to move your technology over to being more cloud native, more serverless architecture, and that in theory cloud costs should be getting cheaper. Once you've migrated, that's the only start of the journey, and they should continue to get cheaper, and it's a constant sort of governance process to kind of reevaluate and optimize that one. Okay, good.
And I think also both AWS and Azure are aware of that, hence they are very keen on releasing even more advanced tools to keep control of your spend and govern your spend and what you're doing on their platform.
Fantastic, understood. And number 5, so agile scaling. I think people will kind of be familiar with this term, but what do you mean in this context?
Yeah, so when you've arrived in some of the most advanced technology platforms available, barriers to scaling or digital transformation projects are massively reduced. So they make scaling with your operation easy, both commercially and technology-wise. Something that a lot of our clients actually enjoyed during the tough times of COVID-19 was the ability to scale back their spend on technology in line with their reduction in operational capacity, and it works exactly the same the other way. So it just opens up options for digital transformation. You've got state-of-the-art tech at your fingertips once in AWS and Azure to tackle big BI, big data, artificial intelligence, machine learning, all of these things that companies want to get a foot in the door with, all open up the blockers in terms of those projects.
Okay, fantastic. And one assumes that scaling up, also you have the capability to scale back if you need to, as no doubt some people have had to do during the COVID period. So just to touch on the digital transformation point in there, is that so once an organisation has got to state-of-the-art level where they're in Amazon or Azure, then that's when all of the likes of, you know, off-the-shelf big data capabilities, BI platforms, general sort of AI and machine learning tech. So I'd imagine that once you've kind of hit stage 5, that's when you're into this accelerated mode where effectively you've got all of these tools as a wonderland available to you as an organisation.
Yeah, absolutely, and constantly innovating on those platforms as well in terms of what services they're releasing to be able to take advantage of this. Obviously, digital transformation is a massive word in the industry and massively broad as well. But it's just about having options and reducing those barriers to taking advantage of what you can do with your tech.
Thank you, James. Thank you ever so much for that. And I'd imagine that people can get in contact with you direct if they've got any more questions for you and your team. So thank you very much for that.
Absolutely. Thank you.